Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we have TNA. A lot of things has happened. As you know, Moose has declared that he wants to cash in his rematch clause to regain a TNA world title. As you know, the system are rebooting to reclaim what they lost previously in Slammiversary. Well, we'll see what happens. But, however, there's a lot of things that are taking place. We have, of course, Giselle Shaw versus Heather Reckless. Of course, we have Zaya Brookside versus Ash by Elegance. We even got, of course, the Hardys getting a little bit of payback against Myers and Edwards of the System, and plenty other things as well. And then we move on, of course, with Ring of Honor. We have some very interesting matches. We have Atlantis Jr. Against, I forgot who it was. We even got, of course, talent like the Outrunners and everything else. And I think this is something you guys don't want to miss out. And then we cap up our episode with some news updates. We're only going to focus on upcoming events, so we'll get through all of that. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leader Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Leader Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if anything has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside. I believe it's time to go straight up to the highway. So let's start with our very first review, and this is, of course, TNA. Okay, TNA. It opened up with, of course, Steve Maclin taking on Hammerstone. Now remember, recently we saw a little dilemma going on last week when Hammerstone, when Jake Something lost to Eric Young, and then Steve Maclin showed up to save Eric Young from Hammerstone and Something, but now he faces Hammerstone. Now, of course, you would think that Hammerstone, with him being the strongest and powerful person, he would take out a guy like Maclin. However, Maclin could not finish the job by using the KIA, because I'm sure Hammerstone thought that already, but he was able to roll him up and pick up the win. However, after the match and the post-match, Hammerstone retaliated and started attacking him. But much what happened last week, Maclin had help, and that was, of course, Eric Young, and of course, Something showed up. Later on, we did see a bit of a video promo by both Maclin and Eric Young. Eric Young talked about Maclin's past. If those who know this, he served in our armed forces, sacrificed everything for our country, so he feels like they both have this common ground. So it was later revealed in Victory Road, those two will team up to face those two. So I'm sure that's going to be a real fun match to watch. Now, once again, the System are, as you know, they are in fact are planning to reboot. Reclaiming the TNA World Title is one thing that Moose wants. Now, Moose made it clear that he was not the guy that he couldn't beat. That was something I'm sure that Maclin, Meneth thought about. So we'll see that, including Myers and Edwards are considering getting their TNA tag team titles back. So we'll see where that goes. Now, Heather Reckless, as you know, made her appearance last week. However, she had her in-ring debut against Giselle Shaw. The match could have gone either way, but of course, Ash by Elegance and that dumbass stooge showed up out of nowhere. And then, of course, costing Giselle Shaw the match when Heather Reckless pinned her. So, of course, Ash by Elegance trying to reestablish herself after unable to successfully win the TNA Knockouts World Title. So that's the kind of thing that's happened. Now, as you all know, it was now 100% confirmed. Xia Zhao, formerly known as Xia Li, will be making her appearance and possibly debut to the promotion. We just don't know when. And I think this is going to be one of those matches you definitely don't want to miss. We just don't know when. I'm looking forward to it. Now, of course, all hell is breaking loose between Matt Cardona and Stefan Landers after, she ended up being with PCO. So things are going to go head to head. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm sure we will have that match that we're definitely going to see. Now, last week, I've kind of diverted a little situation that happened with Spitfire. As you know, they've been unable to successfully reclaim the TNA Knockouts tag team title. So they Jody Threat put herself in this little dilemma where she says that if they don't win, they are splitting up. Of course, it was an overreaction, but what choice did they have? I mean, we know that Alicia Edwards and Masha will do whatever it takes to stay with those titles, but we'll see what happens at Victory Road. Now, once again, we have First Class taking on ABC. Now, remember, AJ Francis claimed that this match should have won in their favor, but the ABC reminded him, you were not the one who was the legal person to pin me. It was, of course, C. Navarro. However, things did not go on this match the same way they would have hoped for, because apparently it was AJ Francis that got the fold, and just like that, they won the match. Now, Joe Hendry, as you know, was the victim of the onslaught attack by Josh Alexander. Now, remember, this happened back in Slammiversary, where, of course, Joe Hendry got low kicked in the groin by Alexander, and then, of course, involved in the match last week. So this time, Joe Hendry is going to deal with Josh Alexander once and for all. And, of course, Josh Alexander, he's no idiot. He decided to be in the rafters watching this. Well, while he's over there, Joe Hendry, the best way to piss off a person is by doing what he does best. Play you a song. I thought it was great. I loved it. I mean, come on. You know for a fact that Joe Hendry is going to do something like this. He's been doing it for a long time. So, I thought it was funny. Now, as you all know what happened this past Tuesday, well, Ariana Grace, I don't know if I call her a liaison between NXT and TNA, but however, Jordynne Grace is not happy with the results of what happened. Now, of course, Ariana Grace was being in denial about that Wendy Choo was involved. Jordynne Grace is no fool. Who else is the only one who uses a pillow? Come on. The evidence is pointing Wendy Choo. But however, of course, Ariana Grace will do whatever it takes to ensure things will go smoothly. And I don't know if a pinky promise would suffice, but we'll see. Now, while Moose, as you know, is desperate to regain the TNA World Title, well, we know Mike Santana will get his shot for that title, but however, he has some unresolved business with Moose. Now remember, Moose was the one who initiated the attack on Mike Santana because he perceived him as a threat. However, Mike Santana, those who know this, he felt that Moose did not have his little flunky JDC finish the job. So we'll see what happens. Now, As you know, Ash by Elegance had a match against Saya Brookside. Now, that stooge once again gets involved, and this time, Giselle Shaw Ash gets help by Heather Reckless. So now it seems like Heather Reckless is going to be, pardon my language, an ass kisser to Ash by Elegance, and that's something we probably will see. Now, Nick Menace put on a little video promo on Moose. He knows about how everything is. Now, Moose made it clear, you did not beat me. Nick Menace acknowledges that. So this time he's going to prove it. And, Moose talks about wrestlers that, of course, Nick Menace has already faced and beaten. So he thinks, what is that going to do for you? I've beaten all of them. So it would make sense. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our main event is the Hardys versus the System, Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. Now, remember, last time, these two tangos, this was for the TNA Tag Team titles, but that sleazeball of a scumbag, JDC, got involved. However, even though they did not get the Tag Team titles on this one, well, they get a somewhat measured revenge when, of course, there was a double twist of fate and a swanton bomb on Edwards, allowing for the Hardys to pick up the win. So now it's made clear. We know that Myers and Edwards want a shot at the tag team titles, and Hardy Boys want to regain those belts. But the real question is, where do we go from here? I would not be surprised if there's a three-way match at Victory Road. And I'm sure many of you would think the same thing. But let's see what happens next week as we are on the road to Victory Road. So we'll end things right here with TNA and move on with Ring of Honor. Okie dokie. Ring of Honor. We open up with, of course, a singles match. We have Pretty Peter Avalon returning. He takes on the current ROH World TV Champion, Atlantis Jr. Now, nothing too significant about this match, but of course, like any situation, if Peter Avalon beats Atlantis Jr., then the possibilities that he could challenge for the Ring of Honor World Television title. But, however, that did not come to suffice on this particular match. It was Atlantis Jr. who defeated him with, of course, a frog splash. Now, it seems there was an emergency meme meeting cooked up by Billy Starkz. Now, apparently, jealousy is now taking a toll on her. Now, remember, Athena was not too pleased with her for losing the ROH World Women's Television title to Red Velvet. So that was the whole point of what was happening. But apparently, she praises Lexi Neer, who in fact helped her retain her belt against Queen Aminata. However, Billy Starkz was not too happy with the results of that. And of course, now she's declaring Lexi Neer as her bestie, basically her number one person. And this is driving Billy Starkz crazy. However, many fans are speculating that sooner or later, Billy is going to snap and then attack Athena and hopefully becoming the ROH Women's World Champion. So we'll see what happens about that. Our next match, we have, of course, Harley Cameron versus Queen Aminata. Now, it's no secret that Queen Aminata has her sights set for the ROH Women's World title, but she has to contend with the delusional Cameron. But, of course, it was a headbutt that, took her out, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, good night, Harley. Now, our next match, we have 6-man tag team action. We have Top Flight, consistent of both Dante and Darius Martin, along with their homeboy, Action Andretti, taking on Vin Parker, Dante Leon, and CD Bennett. Well, you can guess that this match ended in Top Flight and Andretti because it was Dante Martin with that move. I don't know what he calls it, but he finished off, I think it was CD on this one, and just like that, it was over. Now, Harley Cameron was having an interview with Melissa Santos, not happy with the results of losing the match. And then, of course, much what Harley Cameron did to Rachel Ellering, telling her, treating her like she's some sort of rookie. well, she's giving her a taste of her own medicine. And I'm sure Harley Cameron was not happy. Well, Harley Cameron should have just learned to shut the hell up. But she kind of stepped on that one. But we'll see. Now, our next match, we have the Outrunners versus a guys called Fly Death. I don't know who these guys are, but I can tell you that the Outrunners picked up a good win. I thought it was real fun. But however, the Iron Savages, out of nowhere in the post-match, just showed up and attacked them. Now, I don't know what's the significance of their attack, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Outrunners got rescued by the very unlikely team that we know in the past they dealt with, and that was, of course, the Infantry. It was very unusual, but luckily the Infantry helped them out. We don't know what's the significance of seeing both the Infantry and the Outrunners, but it seems like maybe the fans are liking this. So the question, it does remain, why did the Iron Savages attack the Outrunners? And what was the reasons why the Infantry decided to help the Outrunners? I'm sure next week that will come unfold, and we'll see what happens. Now we have Robin Renegade taking on Angelico Risk. Well, I can tell you that this one ended with, of course, Renegade picking up the win, and just like that. So nothing too significant on this. Now, Jacoby Watts, as you know, he is not happy. Now, last week we saw Nick Camarado in action to take on Lee Johnson, and they were about to take him out. However, Lee Johnson got help from a very unlikely, a very interesting person, and that is the judge himself, EJ Nduka. But Jacoby Watts was not happy that he stepped over the line. But I'm sure Nduka is not going to allow cowards like Jacoby Watts to get away with it. But we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have the Righteous taking on James Blackheart and JC Valentine. But this match, you probably can guess, it ended with, of course, the Righteous, when they with, of course, Vincent doing the orange sunshine on JC, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match, we have a singles match, and of course, we have Arya Davari along with that weasel, Smartmore Sterling, disrespecting the people of Texas. Very unprofessional, dude. And then, of course, he decides to take on Texas' very own Sammy Guevara. Now, of course, Sammy did everything right. However, that idiot Sterling gets involved as well, and so is the other members of the Premier Athletes. But luckily, Sammy took out both of them. He wiped out both Nice and Woods, and then he clobbered Sterling, allowing for him to put the go to hell onto Davari to pick up the win. Now, we do see a little interview with Lexi Neer with Red Velvet. Now, point out this one, Lexi Neer was not happy to look at Red Velvet because she has a title that in her mind she feels does not rightfully belong to her. However, of course, Red Velvet decided, that she needed to step up the game on everything else. And Diamante, as you know, who's not happy with Red Velvet stepping up to her after what she did last week. So this time she says she's going to put her on a lesson. But we'll see what happens until then. Our next match, we have... Ooh, it's getting cold here. Yeah, Lady Frost taking on Promise Braxton. Well, as always, Lady Frost is always impressive. But she took out, of course, Braxton with the infamous Frostbite. And just like that, she picked up the win. Our next match, we have the returning Willie Mack taking on Exodus Prime. Nothing too significant on this one, but I can tell you Willie picked up a good win by applying the Frog Splash, and just like that, it was over. Now, Anthony Henry, as you know, wants to give a clear update on JD Drake when he's coming back. So basically, he's doing that, but he also has to deal with one more thing, and that is his annoying cousin, Beef. So, of course, Beef is all pumped up, but we'll see what happens until... I can tell Anthony Henry's like, please, JD, come back, I can't deal with this anymore. So, that's what it was. Now, our next match, we have Preston Vance taking on KM. Well, I can tell you that Preston Vance took him out by using the infamous Discus Lariat that, of course, he inherited by Brody Lee. And, of course, he made it clear that he doesn't need Rush. but he's going to bring back that killer instinct that he had during Brody Lee's time. And I say, good for him. He deserves that. Our next match, we have an interesting 6-man tag match. We have Spanish Announce Project, Angelico and Serpentico teaming up with the master of the DDT Tornado, Fuego del Sol. They take on the Ace of Spades Academy, consisting of LSG, and I forgot his tag partner, and then of course Joe Alonso, who's there. Well, he's not a member of the Ace of Spades Academy. So basically, it was a pretty good match, but don't forget, what I like about this match is how Angelico continues to impress us with his submission tactics, and that is very impressive. So he picked up a good win. So sooner or later, he will come across against Lee Moriarty for the pure title, and hopefully he'll win it. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have AR Fox teaming up with Commander to take on Brilliant RB and Ariel Dominguez. Of course, there was going to be a lot of high spots on this one. It kind of did. But it was Commander who picked up the win with the shooting star press onto Brillante. And just like that, Fox and Commander picked up the win. Our main event, we have Lio Rush versus Rocky Romero. Master student versus teacher. So that kind of was a pretty good match. Not to mention, these two guys are very strong, capable junior heavyweight competitors. But it was Lio Rush who picked up the win with the final hour. And I thought it was a very good, touching moment, because he had defeated his mentor. So that's pretty much it what happened on Ring of Honor. So I think that's pretty much it. We'll just end things here with it. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. So welcome to our news updates. So we're just going to focus right now in upcoming events from the various promotions we know of. Now, as always, we start out with GCW because they have a pile of them. Now, I could have put them all in different timings, but no, I decided, whatever is GCW goes with GCW, West Coast Pro with West Coast Pros, that sort of thing. But let's begin with that. Now, as you know, this Saturday for the Detroit show, the bad one, we have the Duke of Hardcore, John Wayne Murdoch, taking on Dr. Redacted. So that's going to be one F-up match, if you know what I mean. And then the following day in Rochester, we do have, of course, the G-Code, Alec Price taking on Marcus Mathers. I think that match is going to be a baller right there for me. Now, as you know, GCW will be here in San Diego for the Monster Bash on the 31st of October. Now, we weren't sure who they will announce. Well, they just announced Super Crazy will be involved. Now, I'm sure there will be more names, but I'm so happy. I actually met Super Crazy once before. But if you guys should know, tickets will be sold real soon, so keep an eye on that. As you guys may remember or not, they have announced that they're going to be heading to Hawaii. Well, it's now official. They're calling it Hawaii Mania on November 2nd. And it's going to be at the Hawaii Convention Center. So I don't know if I have any subscribers who are from Hawaii. But if I do, get your tickets, get some info, that sort of thing. And then, of course, we have the American Dream Hall taking place on the 23rd of November. They just announced Bang Bang. That's right, Mick Foley will be there. So you got another WWE legend being there as well. Now, Deadlock Pro Wrestling for the Carolina Classic on the 15th of September. There's going to be a tournament for the best of the Battle of the Best tournament. This is the second round. We have Shoko Nakajima taking on Trish Adora. Now, as you know, Got to Move has changed their name to ChocoPro. There will be a show coming up. We are ChocoPro on the 28th of September. It's going to be at the Itababashi Green Hall. Well, we have the Super Asia title defended. Mei Suruga will be making her first title defense against Miyuki Takase. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, as you know, we continue with more names for RevPro for the upcoming British J Cup that will take place on the 28th of September. They announced Kid Lycos 2 will be there, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, those who know this, next month, Ricochet will be heading back to Japan for the first time in many years. He'll be teaming up with his old pal Shima. They'll take on Hijo de Vikingo and Soma Watanabe. So that's going to be one good match you don't want to miss out. Now, West Coast Pro continue with more ads on on their upcoming events in October on the 11th. For that thing that should not be. The West Coast Pro Women's Champion Takumi Iroha will defend her belt against Zara Sakir. So that's going to be real cool. And then finally, as you know, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, for their Forge in Excellence that will take place on October 19th and the 20th, they just announced Jake Something will be as well there. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for everything. So if there's anything else, we'll go from there. So until then, let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Rampage and NXT Level Up. Now, as we speak, we have New Blood 13, I believe. We're going to have some interesting matches taking place. I hope I get to see it. Just recently found out there's certain Yoshi match events that I missed out. So those will be a priority. I even am a little behind on ChocoPro. So we'll see how we shuffle on everything else. But the priority is AEW Rampage and NXT Level Up. So that is the plan as we know so far. But until then, I will see you guys on the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.